Hello guys, I bought this little memory game from AliExpress for $5.57, and honestly, most of the time when I ordered one of these cheap kits, I expect at least one thing to go wrong, a missing part, a confusing PCB, something. But this one just kind of worked from start to finish, no drama. So let me show you why I think this might be one of the best cheap kits I've ever built. So, this is the DIY memory training game console. At least that's what they call it in the listing. It's basically a Simon Says clone. You know the game from the 70s that have 4 buttons that lights up in sequence and you have to remember it and repeat it. This is exactly the same idea. The only difference is that you have to build it yourself. The reason I chose this one is that I've been doing a lot of DIY kits from AliExpress lately, and most of them are just some blinky LEDs and some amplifiers and stuff like that. That's fun and all, but it's kind of one note. This one actually do something. It's a game, it keeps score, it makes sounds, so I figure why not? It was only $5 and 57 cents. If you have ever watched any of my other AliExpress builds, you know I do a lot of these. So I had a pretty good idea of what to expect. Anyway, let's open it up. First impressions when this arrived: standard AliExpress packaging, small bubble mailer, kit inside anti-static bag, nothing special. But once I open this one up, that's where things start to look better than it usually do. So we got the main PCB, that's the green board with all the silk screen on it, and right away I can tell the quality is decent. Silk screen is crisp, solder mask is even, pads look clean, and for a $5 kit, that's actually quite good. Then we have the buttons, and these are actually interesting. They are not regular tactile switches like you expect. They are rubber buttons with a little carbon pad on the bottom. Same idea as the buttons in a TV remote. The carbon pad bridges 2 contacts on the PCB when you press it down, and the LEDs are separate. Those go on the board first, and the rubber buttons sit on top, held in place by little rubber tabs that poke through the PCB. 2 7-segment displays, a buzzer, 2 ICs, capacitors, resistors, and a laser cut acrylic case. 2 printed schematics, one in Chinese and one in English. Always before I solder anything, I count the parts, I lay them out, I'm making sure everything is there. Because trust me, if you're halfway through a kit and you realize you're missing a capacitor, that's just a bad day. Alright, it's time to start. I always go lowest profile to highest. Resistors first, because they sit flat against the board. If you put the buttons on first, you can't really get to the resistors anymore. So flat stuff first, tall stuff last. Same rule for every kit. Bend the leads, drop them in, flip the board, solder, clip the leads. Pretty straightforward. And the pads on this board are honestly really nice. Solder flows smoothly, you get good shiny joint without having to really work at it. I'm using unleaded solder for this, 2050 resin core. I know lead-free is the safer thing, but for hobby work, leaded just flows better and is easier on the iron. So that's a personal preference, use whatever you got. Capacitors next. The little ceramic disc ones don't have a polarity, you can put them in either way. The bigger electrolytics ones does. There's a plus and a minus side. The negative side has a stripe down it, and the PCB has a marking. So just match those up. Get it backwards, and at the best the circuit doesn't work. At the worst, the capacitor pops. Then the IC socket. Always use a socket if the kit gives you one. That way, if you ever need to swap the chip, or if you suspect the chip is dead, you can just pull it out instead of desoldering all the pins. Tape it down so it doesn't fall out while you flip the board. Then solder all the pins. Or use a tweezer like me. This one is closed normally and you push it to open. Very nice for tasks like this. Okay, so here's the one part that needs a little extra attention. There's a small SMD chip, surface mounted, that has to go on the underside of the board. SMD components are tiny, usually just a few millimeters across, and they sit on the surface of the board instead of going through holes like normal components do. So you can't really line them up as you do with normal through-hole components. I switched to my microscope for this one because honestly my eyes aren't really that good anymore, so I need to use the microscope so I can actually see this small part. The trick is to put a tiny dot of solder on one pad first, just a small dot. Then you hold the chip in place with tweezers, melt the one pad, and the chip locks in position. Once it's tacked down on one side, you can solder the rest of the pins normally. There we go. One pin tacked, now the other side, and done. SMD work is intimidating the first few times, but once you get the technique down, it's not that bad. The 7-segment displays. These are the parts that always make me a little nervous because they have a lot of pins close together. If you bridge 2 of them with solder, one segment won't light up correctly. But on this kit the pads was spaced well enough that bridges was actually pretty hard to do. Some kits really crowd the pads together. Now the buttons. These are actually a cool design choice. They are not the usual tactile buttons that you normally see in kits. They are rubber buttons that have a carbon pad on the bottom of them. Same thing as you see on the TV remote controls. When you press a button, the carbon bridge 2 contacts on the PCB and that registers a button press. The LEDs are separate, so I have to solder the LED in first and the rubber buttons just sit on top of the LEDs. Held in place by small rubber tabs that are on the buttons themselves. You pull through the PCB board. That's actually a smart way to keep the buttons down. Rubber and carbon are way cheaper than lidded tactile switches would be. LEDs first. These do have a polarity. The longer leg is positive, shorter leg is negative. Match that up with the markings on the PCB silk screen. Get one backwards and the button just won't light up. Drop them in, flip the board, solder, clip the legs. Now the rubber buttons just snap on. The little tabs poke through the PCB and lock them in place. No soldering, no screws, just press them down. And honestly, this is one of the most satisfying parts of the build. 4 buttons, push them in place. The buzzer is the easy one. 2 pins, polarity matters but it's marked. And we are done with the soldering. Okay, the board is done. Now the case. This is just 6 pieces of laser cut acrylic, plus some screws and standoffs. The first job is peeling the protective film off every piece. And honestly, this is the most satisfying part of any project like this. I don't know what it is about peeling the paper off the acrylic, but it just hits. Then the assembly is mostly figuring out which side goes where. The bottom plate has holes for the standoffs. The PCB sits on top of those. The 4 side panels slots into the bottom. The top plate goes on last with screws. It took me maybe 10 minutes the first time because I had to figure out the orientation. But if I did it again, maybe I'd do it in 5. Alright people, the build is done. Now, moment of truth. I haven't powered this thing on once through the whole build. Some people test as they go. I usually don't, because if something is wrong, I will usually find it in the end. So at this point, I generally don't know if anything works. So let's plug it in and find out. And we have lights. Displays are on. Buzzer just played a startup tone. All 4 buttons light up when I press them. So all the 4 LEDs are orientated correctly and the carbon contacts on the buttons are working. Every press registers. Honestly, this is the first time in a while I finished one of these and had everything just work on the first try. Alright, my high score is 5. I'm not proud of it, but there is something really satisfying about playing a game you just built yourself. It's not gonna replace your phone, but for $5.50, yeah, I'm into it. So, what do I think about the kit? The good parts, it's the smoothest kit I've actually done in a while. The PCB quality is good, solder pads are clean and very well separated. The components feel good. The button design is very clever. Rubber buttons with carbon pads instead of tactile switches. That's really clever. That's a smart way to save some money without losing the feeling of quality in the kit. The buttons feel responsive. They have a very nice feeling to them. And the separated LEDs underneath gives you a really clean lit button look. And it comes with both Chinese and English schematics, parts lists, small things. But this tells me that someone actually thought about the user experience. Difficulty-wise, I would say it's a beginner-friendly kit. Maybe not first time beginner, but if you've done a couple of kits before, this could be a good kit for you. There is this SMD component. It's kinda small. You could do it without a microscope. I chose to use a microscope because I have one. You don't actually need one. So is it worth it for $5.50? Hell yeah. You're basically paying parts cost, you get practice, and you basically end up with something that do work. You can keep it on your desk and play it sometimes. This is one of the best cheap kits I've ever built, so yeah, I do recommend it. Alright, that's it for this one. If you made it this far, thank you, seriously. I know these build videos runs a little long, but I just like taking my time and walk through the process. It's more relaxing that way. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and dropping a like. Let me know in the comments, would you build this one? Have you already built it? What's your high score? Because mine is, well, at this point 8, but I'm not proud of it. The link to the kit is in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. And I got a playlist of other kits I've done from AliExpress, like a coil gun, Christmas tree, a few other things, if you're into that sort of thing. See you in the next one.